Hey, this is Radiowalli from Lyca Radio, here for a very special series. As you know, the month of March is all about celebrating women, and the 8th of March starts off with International Women's Day. The theme this year is inclusion and inspiring women, empowering women, and creating that change that we so long to see year in and year out. So welcome to a very special series that we're doing here at Lyca Media. And of course, how could I not start episode off one without our very own Raj Baddhan, CEO of Lyca Media Group, as well as the drive time presenter for Lyca Radio 1458. Hey Raj.
Hi Radiowalli, how you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm feeling great, but it feels a bit kind of nerve-wracking now because you've actually just introduced me as the CEO. Usually it's just the radio presenter, right? We have our handover just when I'm finishing at 7 o'clock and you're coming on. And
I think for me, this is nice because usually it's you firing the questions at me. And I'm in the hot seat. So today you're in our hot seat.
And I'm looking forward to it.
So how does it feel to be in the front seat of the roller coaster?
Scary.
Buckle up, you're in for a good ride.
It's up.
So as you know, 8th of March is an iconic day. It celebrates women, International Women's Day. So a lot of people always say to me, or have said to me since we made the announcement on our social media, it's International Women's Day and you're starting episode 1 off with a male. But for me, I think what I wanted to highlight in this episode was the importance of bringing male equality as part of gender equality, because gender equality isn't just about female empowerment, but it's also about the part men have to play in this. And within the South Asian community, there are a lot of stereotypes. Thankfully, we are bashing our way out of the majority of them, but they still exist. So in your role, both as CEO and as a presenter, and obviously a dear friend, we've known each other a long time now. For me, it was really important that we started the episode off with you in the hot seat. So what does the word or the phrase International Women's Day mean to you?
First of all, I just want to say, when you approached me about this interview, I was like, hang on a sec, are you sure you're doing the right thing here? Because we're doing a special on International Women's Day, and the first guest of yours on this channel is going to be me. But then I thought much harder into it and much deeper into it. I thought, actually, it's not a bad idea, because one thing about me is pushing women in whatever capacity I've worked in. So as a CEO of Lyca Media and running the radio stations Lyca Radio, Lyca Gold, Manchester, Time FM, I remember, when I first joined, I think there's something about women that I find incredibly easy to work with. I think what we've done in terms of Lyca Radio, Lyca Gold, we've got, if you notice, I think most of the top positions at Lyca Media have been occupied by women, and not deliberately, but I just find it that they were capable of doing the work, and they were a lot more easier. And when it comes to team bonding and also getting on with the associates, I think it's been a lot more easier. And even at Lyca, at Time 107.5, which is our English radio station, we had Lorna, who was one of our first station managers when I joined. Here at Lyca Radio, Lyca Gold, we have a team of about 6 managers, and 4 of them are women. So we've got some incredibly, honestly, some amazing team players in our Lyca Media team. And not just that, but also our presenters as well. So the top management is one thing, but just presenters like yourself, who are in the forefront of our on-air talent team, is something to be boasting about, and that's why I'm so proud to be doing this.
And I'm glad that you brought this up, because it kind of leads nicely into what I wanted to talk about next, which is, generally when we think of South Asian media, there is a lot of stereotype around men leading or men being at the top of the table. Whereas if we look at Lyca Media, for me, certainly as a presenter on the ground level, there's a moment of pride when I say, actually, majority of our senior leadership team is made up of women.
Absolutely.
So I think barring your station managers, who are both male, your senior leadership team is all women, from head of programming to head of sales, head of production, is all females. So as a male at the top of that chain, how have you found that dynamic, and how do you feel when you're in the public and you're having to display that?
So I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. I mean, when the roles came up, in terms of positions came up, it wasn't about whether you're a female, whether you're a male. It just happened that the qualities that they embrace and they were good at in terms of what they were delivering there's turned to be women. I mean, for me, it's keeping the game very simple. If you're hardworking, if you're committed, you're a great team player, at the same time, you know, you're willing to kind of put in extra over and beyond what is agreed, is all that matters. And I've got to say one thing, that the team is absolutely fantastic. I mean, all of them, one by one, even the presenters, everyone's so fantastic here, which is why we're successful.
Yeah, and I mean, I know the answer to this because Raju and I obviously work together, but you know, I'm often asked that, are there special exceptions made for females? Because there is, you know, a sense of responsibility that women have that perhaps men won't have, you know, whether it comes to home life, children, family commitments, other personal, professional commitments. And my honest answer is no, there is no exceptions. But I feel the reason there's no special exceptions is because there's no need for that, because there is quite an open door policy. Yes, you're our CEO, but I never really feel that title unless I'm introducing you professionally.
And you don't want to, and that's the thing, that you don't want to go up to a female colleague or an employee. Just because they're a woman, you want to go to and start saying, oh, do you want to leave early today because you're going to go and do the cooking or you're going to look after their kids? It's not our place to say anything like that. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone's leading lives. Everyone, the males are also now looking after kids, now also cooking, and they have been for many, many years. And they have to juggle work life with home life as well. So at the same time, you know, there's always that practice that's always been there for many, many years. We don't have to highlight that. We're very flexible in terms of how we work here, and so are our team members as well. I tell you what, they're very flexible, because some of them would log on from home and just do the work for us.
Get it done. And obviously, you know, your journey started back in the Midlands, in Leicester, and then you shifted across the Midlands. You had a stint in London, and then back to Midlands, and now you're back here in London. So how do you feel the dynamics of you know, women-led teams are in London in comparison to outside of London? Because if you look, for example, shows-wise, 3 out of 4 of your presenters, the late night show or the evening show, which is a 7 to 10 p.m. show, are females. You know, and it's not a case, and they're young females. You know, so it's not like, oh, we're females, we need to leave early. You know, how are we going to get home? How do you find that dynamic between London and outside of London?
It's quite an interesting question, because when I think about what I had in my radio station back in Leicester, and also now in Manchester as well, it's again very male kind of orientated. And it's interesting that, because here in London, I know what it is about the women. They are so like kind of like, you know, they've got this thing about them that, you know, no holds barred kind of. They want to make sure they go full front, which is so fantastic. I mean, and to see that kind of hunger and that drive in them is incredible. And I wonder why things were different in Leicester. Maybe, you know, lifestyles are different in Leicester compared to, and it's strangely up north now in Manchester, the lineup up until now, we're changing to like already Greater Manchester, has been very kind of male dominated. But saying that though, even our Ramzan programming this year is going to be led by a female presenter who is based in Manchester, and will be doing shows here in London and also in Manchester as well. So we're changing things around in Manchester as well.
So talking of Manchester, and like you said, it is majority male. So how do you feel that you do and you will encourage women to continue building their careers, striving forward, and actually going for those senior leadership positions like we have here in Lyca London, as I like to call it?
I mean, for me, I think as long as you got the qualities, as long as you've got the passion, the drive, you got the availability, the flexibility, then you're onto a winner. And yes, one thing we are changing is the lineup in Manchester, and to add a bit more kind of a female touch. It's not going to happen overnight, but we'll definitely be adding some females to the lineup just to make it sound a bit more kind of a mix. You know, and it's great for the listeners as well, rather than having, you know, 5 male presenters back to back, or, you know, 4 presenters back to back, male presenters back to back. It's always nice to add that kind of touch to it. And yes, we're encouraging all females. We have got a few females that have been contacted us for Manchester to say, you know, let's get you on the radio, let's get you trained up, and let's get you on the radio, and let's mix things up a little bit.
And you have a really strong personality, you know, leadership team here at Lyca. I mean, I can only talk for myself. I know that I'm never afraid to come to you and say, Raj, I think we should do this differently, or I think this could work better. And you get pushbacks from your team, you get, you know, a constant, let's try this and let's not do this. So you do get, you know, it's not a case of Raj is the boss, so yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full. You do get fire back. How does that feel for you, you know, in your role?
So what I find successful in any company you work in, not just radio, is the inputs that are given by the entire team. I think the team makes the end product. It's very important. I mean, when I'm working and I'm in my office, sometimes I'm just sitting there thinking, what am I going to do? Because there's some ideas that I'm, you know, racking my head about, and I'm thinking, actually, let me get my team involved in this, because it will make it easier, bounce ideas off each other, and secondly, that kind of mix will be even successful. And so far, that's exactly what it's been. Because I speak to, you know, my production team, my programming, my operations, everyone. The on-air team, we have regular meetings. Absolutely. And we're always bouncing ideas off each other to say, you know, let's now think about what direction we're going to go in, because, you know, we've got competition in the market, and there are some that like to kind of see what we're doing and then follow, which is quite a compliment. But we want to keep changing the strategy just to make sure that we're staying fresh every time. So you want
to keep your strategy on a roller coaster?
Yeah, why not? I think just on a roller coaster, things are changing constantly, right? It's always up and down, up and down. So we want to make sure we do the same on radio as well.
Yeah. So obviously you've talked about, you know, the inspiration you get from the on-air team, the off-air team, the senior team. Obviously we have Reena, who's based on the other side of the world. She's based in India and always available at the click of a finger. So, you know, big shouts to Reena for everything she does, along with everyone else. So outside of, you know, the world of radio, for those of you who don't know Raj, he's part of a twin. He's a set, and I mean, I'm fortunate. I know Lac, or Tony, as most people tend to know him, and he's my favourite twin out of the two. I must say that. But
I'm sure you can ask me about my favourite female, right? Presenter on the radio.
I wasn't. But you know what? We will come back to that. So there's some things.
So now that you said about Lac, I'm going to be rejigging my answer.
But no, so obviously, you know, Lac's a very important part of your journey. He's been there, and you know, it's not a secret, you're very close to him, so he's obviously a big inspiration point for you. But in terms of females, and aside of the obvious answer of the mother's role, who would you say are the women that inspire you, both professionally and personally?
Yeah, do you know what it is? I like strong women. I don't know what it is. I think when you have a strong, you know, because during this especially the shift from, say, Leicester to London, I've seen some of the change as well, where I see women being very kind of, you know, being overshadowed by men, or, you know, staying back and not saying so much. Yeah. There's something about London that I've seen, some strong, independent, just like yourself, some very colourful, just like your hair, you know, women. And I just love that about them. You know, when they can speak and stand up for themselves, I find that that confidence is just something else.
So if you had to name a few women, and bear in mind these can be, you know, historical figures, or they can be people in your professional network, your personal network. If you had to name maybe 1 or 2 women that have kind of inspired you to and craft you to be the man you are today. I mean, it's not a secret. I'll give you an example. Raj absolutely loves Sridevi. God rest her soul. You know.
But I don't think she's the kind of person that's given me that drive. You know, there's nothing about. I mean, I love Sridevi as an actress, but I don't think she was the one that I was. I mean, beside Mum, there's no one else that I've actually looked at as such. I think for me, it's always been, you know, it's probably the wrong thing to say, but it's always been male radio presenters that I've seen. Like, I used to grow up to Chris Moyles, listen to Chris Moyles on Radio 1, listen to him, see how he's doing things. But in terms of females, beside the odd teacher while I was at school,
teachers you can mention.
Yeah, teachers definitely. I think they're always. I think anyone, because you're spending so much time with them as a child.
They craft your thoughts.
They do exactly that, because when you're thinking, when you're talking about ideas and moving one direction to another, when it comes to, you know, thinking which area you're going to go into and what you're going to be kind of like, you know, you're going to be working in later on in terms of education. They encourage you and they make you think about certain things. So I definitely say there's a couple of teachers that come to mind that were fantastic.
Okay, so no particular historical figure that we can get you to pinpoint then?
No.
Bollywood women are going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, because Bollywood would be the easiest answer, but for me, no. As much as I love Bollywood, I don't think, but I do like Priyanka Chopra. You know, that kind of very. Yes. She knows, but she wasn't someone that I was growing up to. She's you know,
part of the current.
Yeah, she's more or less my age anyway, so I think she was growing up with me, looking at role models herself. So I just think I love the way she comes across
And what she stands for.
She's got that confidence to her, yeah.
Yeah.
And she doesn't give two hoots, you know what I mean?
No, she just says it as it is.
As it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she is that kind of woman I like.
Okay, that makes sense. So obviously this year's theme is Inspire Inclusion, and obviously being a South Asian organisation, what does that theme mean to you personally?
South Asian inclusion. I think you know, with things have changed so significantly over the years. I don't know why, but it feels like after COVID things took a bit of a turn. So it's like a bit of a refresh. But you can see now that there's a lot of South Asians that are now getting the chance, even on say BBC or your general media outlets, which wasn't the case before. I mean, beside the odd, say Kumar's at number 42 on BBC One, you just see that. But now seeing them regularly in shows and dramas and reality TV shows, it's just a norm, and it's so great to see that. But I think still a lot needs to be done because, you know, we're still getting labelled as a South Asian, yet when we're British Asian, we should be treated as just a British person. But there are some people that have that dedication, that passion, that drive to do things, and they do it for free. Because even when I first started media, I did things for free because for me, it was very, very important to gain that experience, to make sure, again, that, you know, that, you know, get that experience. And
because that's really important.
Thankfully, and thankfully it's worked in my favour. So, you know, all thanks to the stuff that I've done in the past.
To build you to where you are.
Yeah.
Okay, so just want to touch upon Manchester a bit, and I'm going to say we because I'm obviously part of the team. We've now acquired Greater Manchester, and Lyca have nationally been smashing its way through. We're now joint number one at the top. Obviously, we've got the Asian Network, who have got their number one spot, but as the stations, how does that feel for you, knowing you've helped to craft that journey along, and what does Greater Manchester mean to you?
Absolutely amazing. Honestly, the thing is, when I joined Lyca, never did I think that we're going to actually acquire another radio station. I thought, well, I'll do what I'm doing here, great, do you know what I mean, like move on. But for me, when Manchester came along, I was like, this is it. I said, we need to do something that's completely different to anyone else out there, and for us to go national. And this is part national because now we are in second biggest city after, you know, London, and we've got Manchester, possibly Birmingham, possibly something else. So let's see what happens. But I'm very, very excited. I'm so happy because, like I said to you, we have got some fantastic female presenters in Manchester that will be taken on board as well.
So am I allowed to ask that question that you said you didn't want to answer earlier about who your favourite female at Lyca is?
There's so many of them. How do I say one? No,
that would be really mean. Yeah. You can't put you on the spot like that.
Yeah.
But so Raj, you've obviously heard all my interviews. I always like an exclusive, and I'm not going to let you leave the hot seat until you give our listeners an exclusive, either Raj professionally or Raj personally. And more time at the gym doesn't count.
Raj personally, I need to join the gym again. I mean, I have joined the gym, but I need to start going a bit more. But it's just taking a lot of my time because I'm Manchester.
Yeah.
What can I say? By the time this interview goes out, yeah, I mean, it's not a big secret, but we're launching Manchester, which is happening around mid-April.
Yeah.
So that's not been announced yet. So we've not announced the date. So that could be a bit of an exclusive, right?
So do we have a date? Can we announce a date?
We have around, so mid-April is when?
So I'm going to say the 15th?
Around then.
Around the 15th. There you go, ladies. There's an exclusive that Lyca Radio Greater Manchester will be launching April 15th, approximately.
Tentatively.
Yeah. But around there.
Yeah.
Raj, thank you so much. Any final words on
No, I just want to say thank you so much. It's been lovely having you here, and honestly, talking to you about stuff that we don't normally talk about on the radio. And honestly, more power to women, and more power to you know, females that are trying, and you know, you will succeed. And you know, we've always got our doors open here. You know, one thing that I love here is when we get loads of emails from women who want to do placements with us, and I'm always up for placement because I like to encourage the next wave of talent coming in and doing something magical for us. I think it's very, very important. And so contact us, get in touch, and speak to Radiowalli, and let's do something on the radio together.
Absolutely. Thank you, Raj, for being the first guest.
Thank you.
Episode
all the best.
1. And obviously do check out our shows. Raj is on from Monday to Fridays from 4 to 7. He drives you home and doesn't drive you as crazy as I do. And then I go straight on after Raj from 7 till 10 p.m.
90s hour, don't forget.
the best one.
Tuesday, Thursdays, right?
That's the one. That's the one. And check out the Lyrical Miracle.
Oh yeah. See you soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Raj. Take care.
Thank you.
Meet you up here.
Bye.